What is going on, guys? Prime Time Gaming here, and yet again we have another part of the tournament giveaway. So that's gonna be awesome. And Microsoft Point card for 1,600 points. And if you don't know how this works, go ahead and go to my last video, two videos ago that I posted. It should be up. And go ahead and I explain and I do the first round. And so if you haven't already checked that out, go see if you won or if you didn't go. So all this side went. So we have the next. How many teams are on this? Like 32 to a side. So 16 people are left from that 32. So, on this side, 16 people are left, and so we have 32 people on this side, and we are going to go ahead and find out. It's my cat, don't worry. It's not like a freaking ghost. So we're going to find out who wins these. So I'm going to go. I don't think you guys can see this, but here are your guys' names. Sorry, I'm like really shaky for some reason. Okay. So those are all your guys' names, and so let's go ahead and get started. So yeah, you guys should know how this works from the last video, and here we go. So first up is Excuse Me Sir and Jason Brody. So here we go. Let's see who wins. Jason Brody is number 2, and Excuse Me Sir is number 1, and I pull out number 1. So Excuse Me Sir won this round. So he will be going on next. Put that back. Next up is Kendall Trudell and Cameron Rye or something. I'm not sure. I don't know how to pronounce your name. And Cameron Rye is number 2, and Kendall whatever is number 1. And I pick number 2. So that means Cameron, you are going on to the next round. Okay, next up is a Tasty C4 and 2000 Max something. And 2000 Max something is number 2, and a Tasty C4 is number 1. And I picked out 2, so we're gonna redo that one. It's number 2. So, who is that? 2000 whatever. We're going on next. Sorry, a Tasty C4. That's an awesome name, dude. Alright. Next up is Nicholas E. Elias and Chase Howerton. Number 2 is Chase Howerton and Nicholas E. Elias. Number 1. And I choose number 2. So, Chase Howerton, you are going on to the next round. Congrats, Chase. Okay, we got both of them in. Austin Cook and JK755. And JK is number 2, and Austin Cook is number 1. Okay, winner. And number 2 is the winner. So, JK, you'll be moving on, and I'm sorry, Austin, about that. Mason Balderin and Jesus Martin. Jesus Martin is number 2, and Mason is number 1. Number 2. So that would be Jesus Martin. You were going on next. Next up is Church Testa and WHOAMLL. How do you pronounce that? Whoel. So Whoel is number 2, and Church Testa is number 1. And it is number 1. That's Church Testa. You're going on next. Okay. Up next is X-Ray Dude 360 and CB Gaming TV. CB Gaming TV is number 2, And X-Ray Dude is number 1. Here we go. And number 2 is the winner, what's your name? CB Gaming T. Oh yeah, I played with you on Xbox. Duh. Next up is Only Fine and Ploosh Plosh. And it is... I didn't even tell you guys the numbers, sorry. So, Ploosh Plosh is number... Okay, this one is 2. Ploosh Plosh is number 2, okay. Sorry. And Only Fine is number 1. Here we go. And it is number 1. So, sorry, Ploosh Plosh, you've been saying some awesome comments, man. Really sorry about that, man. Sorry, man. Eakin 1 and Lee W. Eakin is number 1 and Lee W is number 2. And it is number 1, so Eakin, you are going on. Alright, next up is... Sorry guys, had a little technical difficulties. So we got done with Eakin and Lee W. So next up is Richie Valens and T.I. Acid something. So T.I. Acid is number 2 and Richie Valens is number 1. And it is number 2. So sorry, Acid, man. Alright. Okay, next up. Next up is Lincoln and That Kid 505. And it is number 2, That Kid 505. Next up is Odie Otais and Neil McCarley. Neil McCarley. That is a name. Odie Otais is number 1 and Neil is number 2. It is number 1. So Odie, you win this one. And next up is Balance, Laura, and Casey By. VX Casey By or something. And VA Casey By is number 2 and Balance Laura is number 1. And it is number 2, so that means who is that? VX. I don't know how to spell your name, man. Romel Collins and Gasolone Blows. I'm not sure I spelled all these names wrong. Romel Collins is number 1, and whatever that guy's name is number 2. It is number 1, so Romel, you move on to the next round. Okay. Next up is Optic Death Punch and Don Kingston. Sorry, don't spell your name again. And Optic Death Punch is number 1 and Dante is number 2. And it's number 1, so Optic Death Punch will move on. Alright, so that is, I've picked a random drawing for the next 16 going on. So now we have the final, whatever.